Well, you may or may not be aware that Bill Gates and the WHO have held another tabletop exercise similar to Event 201, which simulated, well, what later became the COVID-19 pandemic. Just months before that outbreak, Gates and the WHO and several countries held tabletop exercises simulating exactly what went down with COVID. Now they've held another one called Catastrophic Contagion. This is from the WHO, well, no, this is from the actual Center for Health Security.org website, specifically their page called Catastrophic Contagion, a global challenge exercise. It says the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, in partnership with WHO and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, conducted Catastrophic Contagion, a pandemic tabletop exercise, at the Grand Challenges annual meeting in Brussels, Belgium on October 23, 2022. The extraordinary group of participants consisted of 10 current and former health ministers and senior public health officials from Senegal, Rwanda, Nigeria, Angola, Liberia, Singapore, India, Germany, as well as Bill Gates, co-chair of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. The exercise simulated a series of WHO Emergency Health Advisory Board meetings addressing a fictional pandemic set in the near future. Participants grappled with how to respond to an epidemic located in one part of the world that then spread rapidly, becoming a pandemic with a higher fatality rate than COVID-19 and disproportionately affecting children and young people. Participants were challenged to make urgent policy decisions with limited information in the face of uncertainty. Each problem and choice had serious health, economic, and social ramifications. I wonder if this is what we have to look forward to in the near future. Well, what lessons did they learn from the exercise? In the early days of a major new contagious disease epidemic, there could be a brief window of opportunity to stop it from becoming a pandemic. To successfully contain such an outbreak, decisive and bold action would need to be taken in the face of incomplete data, high scientific uncertainty, and potential political resistance. Thinking through such challenges, preparing in advance to react effectively, and practicing through both high-level tabletop and operational exercises should start now. So we're talking about lockdowns, of course. It may seem like all these critical policy decisions have been resolved during the COVID-19 pandemic, but they have not. In the Catastrophic Contagion simulation, even a group of some of the wisest and most experienced international public health leaders who lived through COVID-19 wrestled with opposing views on whether countries should impose travel restrictions or close schools to try to contain a serious new epidemic that was disproportionately affecting children. The exercise raised a pivotal question. If future pandemics have a much higher lethality than COVID-19, or for example, if they affect predominantly children, would or should countries take different, stronger, earlier measures to contain it, and what are those measures? These are not purely public health and scientific decisions. They will be made by leaders in the context of political, economic, and social realities that can be anticipated and considered in advance. Through routine simulations and operational exercises, we can strategically prepare for such challenges ahead of time. The more effectively we can reach scientific and practical consensus on the best approach to very hard but foreseeable problems, the more we will be ready in the future to protect lives and national economies. Political leaders, in addition to health leaders, must be at the table during exercises to respond effectively during the next pandemic. This is directly from the website I mentioned. It's pretty vague about what they talked about, but goes on to say that we should establish an international network of national public health leaders along the lines of the professionalized pandemic corps referred to in our exercise could substantially help countries save lives and livelihoods during major epidemics and recover more quickly. Pandemic corps, like a little military of pandemic officers, I guess, huh? In future pandemics, we should continue to expect even more major disruptions from misinformation and disinformation. And who shall determine what that is? The WHO can be a globally trusted source, and it can share science and public health information widely, but we should not expect it alone to combat or put to a stop the spread of mis and disinformation. Countries need to collaborate to anticipate that threat and prepare to combat it with their own laws and procedures. Just as many types of economic and societal harms can be anticipated and accounted for in pandemic preparedness plans, so too can predictable false or misleading health messaging. Concertedly exploring ways to address this phenomenon on a national level in advance of the pandemic will be crucial to saving lives. Well, unfortunately, Mr. Gates, you guys have already laid the groundwork for mistrust with all the back and forth and ignoring of actual science and just the way the whole COVID thing was handled. You've already laid the groundwork for mistrust. People are not going to believe when this happens again. They're just not going to trust what these government health advisors have to say, for the most part. But the bottom line is, I guess they're telegraphing what the next event is going to be, so protect your kids and the elderly, because apparently that is who is going to be targeted on the next go-round. It isn't just coincidence that the event 201 was just a few months before the COVID-19 thing happened. So, who knows how many months we have this time. Thank you for listening to Net News Network Headline News, brought to you by the Behind the Line podcast. For more, you can listen to us at the BehindTheLinePodcast.com or right here on Net News Network. We can also be found on Facebook, YouTube, Truth Social, Parler, Gab, Twitter, Telegram, Reddit, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Anchor FM, and anywhere else your favorite podcasts are found. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe and share.